Hello, YouTube. It's been a little while, probably like a whole month. I have been super busy, mostly working on PhD related things. If only you guys could see the other side of this laptop, it's like piles and piles and piles of books. But it is the first week of July. Yesterday was Canada Day, so hence the red. Happy Canada Day to all my Canadians, and happy early 4th of July to all of my American folks. I spent half my life in both countries, so I do kind of celebrate both Independence Day for the Americans and also Canada Day. So, okay, let's get rolling. I'm really excited to see what the vibes are for this month. Let me just scooch this down a little bit. So, hold on. Let's adjust. Okay, so what we're going to do today is tarot for July, which I'm super, super excited to see what comes up. And then we're also going to be pulling from 3 different oracle decks, all of which are based on animal energy. So I've been meaning to do a kind of unboxing, walkthrough, reveal of a lot of these decks. So I'd be really curious to know which of these you guys want me to do a full walkthrough of first. But for today, we're just going to be pulling one card from each. So first we've got Untamed Spirit Animal Oracle. Pretty cool. Next up, Animal Spirit Oracle by Kim Krans. If you guys are familiar with the Wild Unknown Tarot, one of my favorites. She's also the artist and creator of that. And then we've also got Spiritual Meaning of Birds deck, which obviously is just bird vibes. And so I'm really curious what the combined energy is going to be for this month. I feel like the vibes are vibing, and I'm really excited for July personally. And obviously we've got some tarot cards to see what is going on and what the energy is going to be. So, you know what? Let me start with the oracle because I'm kind of curious what's going to come up and if there is going to be any similar energies between all of these. So first I'm going to be pulling from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle, and we're going to see what we're going to get for this month. And if you're watching live, feel free to say hello in the chat. Let me know where you are watching from and which of these oracle decks you like the most, because they all have a really different energy. And I don't know, I'm just excited to see what patterns emerge. And it'd be really interesting if the same animal came up more than once, or if there's a theme. All right, so what do we need to know for July? What is the energy that we need to learn from, embody, be inspired by? Let's see. Ooh, okay. So first up from the Animal Spirit Oracle, we have fish, water spirit energy. So before I interpret that, I'm just going to see what else we've got. Next up, we've got a card from this deck, the Untamed Spirit Animal Oracle. And I've actually never pulled from this deck before. So let's see what comes up. Oh, and there's another box. I forgot. Let's see. I don't think I've even shuffled this yet. So this is like fresh. Okay. Let's see what we got. What energy do we need to know about for this month of July? What energy will be helpful for us to embody and be inspired by? Interesting. Otter. Joy and companionship. So far we have some very watery creatures, which is interesting. There's already kind of a pattern. This is the Birds Oracle, so obviously, you know, it's not really going to be a water creature, but there are watery birds and birds that hang out by water. So I'm kind of curious if we'll end up getting one of those. Hello, he was. All right, let's see what we got. What do we need to know for July? Hello, sweetheart. Okay, interesting. The Jinko? Hopefully. Hello, honey. Yeah, relax. Perseverance, adaptability, calmness. So I'm really curious to see how these 3 are going to play out in regards to the tarot. I'm going to show you guys the baby since she will not be quiet. Oh, hi, Emily in the UK. Oh, you've never seen these decks before? Yeah, they're all really cool. to be honest. Like all really different vibes in terms of the art is super, super different on all of them. So let me just put these aside. My cat is like, why are you not hanging out with me? So let's just look at all of these kind of together. It's an interesting energy. Hello. And so I'm not too sure much about the Jinko or like where it kind of lives. But what it says here is perseverance, adaptability, calmness. For the otter, it says joy and companionship. And for the fish, who knows? Who knows? He was. You need to relax, sweetheart. So this little guidebook came with the animal spirit deck. So I'm curious what it's going to say about fish. Let's find out. Oh, and it actually has otter in here too. So according to this deck, let's see if I can even find it. Okay, so it says restlessness, change of focus, lost in the current. The fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, and more movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When in balance, adaptable, travels well. When out of balance, distracted, changes their mind often. And to bring into balance, set a small goal and accomplish it. I kind of do like that as a way of approaching that energy. And let's see, is there a little book around the otter? I'm not sure. Oh, yes, there is. All right, here it is. Let's see, and thankfully it's alphabetical. All right, so here we see. And I'm going to get into the tarot after this. All right, so it says otter. Spiritual power, joy and companionship. The otter passes much of its time playing the elements it lives in, diving and re-emerging in the streams with friends or alone. It lets itself be pulled by the current. It is familiar with the joyous and inventive nature of the world. It swims happily next to its companions, always full of curiosity, a spirit of adventure, and a desire to welcome opportunities of beauty. It represents the creativity that comes from being playful, with the imagination that lives deep in the waters of the spirit. It teaches us also to take life as it comes, recognizing its potential even when anxiety might get the best of us. Otter protects us in our family relationships and are good omen for relationships. Can be seen as a trickster that changes the balance of things with happiness, bringing cheerful chaos that lightens the spirit. It reminds us that laughter is medicine, and I love that. It's a pretty, honestly, nice way to look at things. I like that. So let's just see what the Jinko, which I've never heard of in my life, has to say in this little book. And then we'll move on to the tarot. But I do want to just see if there are any similarities here. I've got some thoughts so far. Okay, let's see. So here's what it says. So perseverance, adaptability, calmness. Adaptability is a key trait of this bird. They are found everywhere, from the snow forests of northern Canada all the way through Mexico. Jinkos are resilient and persistent and they can withstand a variety of climates. This suggests you should focus on your immediate environment for your next steps or clues regarding your issue. Your calmness and simplicity. With its key colors of gray, dark brown, and white, the Jinko demonstrates that you don't have to be flashy or make a lot of noise to get things done. Being ordinary can be powerful. The Jinko's unassuming exterior hides a heart that perseveres. Pretty cool. All right, so if I'm going to merge all these cards together and just kind of working from intuition here and just feeling into the energy of what we need to know this month with these animal spirit allies to kind of inspire us on our path forward into this second half of the year, because July marks that we have finally surpassed the halfway point of the year. Summer solstice happened like a week or so ago, week and a half ago, something like that. And so that was the height of the solar energy of the year, the longest day, shortest night, the solar yang masculine energy of the year was kind of at its peak. And it still is, I would say, at its peak right now. So it is a time of finishing projects. It is a time of reassessing and seeing, okay, we wanted 2025 to be our villain era, our glow up year. How are we actually doing with that? Have we been succeeding with that goal, or have we kind of failed or got sidetracked or got distracted or had some kind of chaotic thing happen? Right now, it's the time to reassess and be like, okay, maybe we need to pivot and get back to our goals. Maybe we need to finish up something so that we can finally move on to that next version of ourselves. So what's interesting about this Junco bird is, as it said in the book, it is fucking everywhere. It's like in Canada, it's in Mexico, it's like all over the place. And so with that, you know, there is a perseverance, there is an adaptability, there is an ability to thrive in multiple environments. I think we can learn from this bird. And so I think for this month, what we're going to want to learn from this bird in particular is being adaptable, being resilient, being able to try out a lot of different environments and not necessarily make a big splash as we're experimenting and exploring, but just being, you know, being there, being present, being like a fly on the wall and observing and seeing, okay, is this where we want to make our home? Is this where we want to be? And there also is a simplicity with this bird. There's an energy of like slow and steady wins the race, forward movement, forward momentum, but it doesn't always look explosive. It's like one step at a time type of energy that I'm getting from that bird. For the otter, which I'll now kind of put in front so we can see it a little bit better. The otter, as we can remember from the book, there is a playful trickster energy to this spirit, this animal. There is a slipperiness. And so with this, we can take for this month, like, don't necessarily let yourself be tied down. If someone wants you to commit to them in a love, let's say, relationship this month, I would say maybe not, because the otter is about exploration. The otter is about playfulness. The otter is a positive omen for relationships, but it's about movement. It's not necessarily about stability and stagnation. It's about exploring and seeing what's out there. And again, it does have this association with water, right? So have fun, be playful, get out there. And again, try lots of different things. Like the Junco energy is very much about being able to move through different environments. The otter has this kind of movement energy to it as well, as does the energy of this fish spirit. And so the fish energy is also, I would say, about movement, adaptability, and it's not necessarily about commitment either. It's not necessarily about stability. Water is about flow and fluidity and movement. And so this month, again, the theme here is not necessarily putting down roots. It's not really about committing to one thing or the other thing. It really is about movement and learning through movement, trying new things, swimming through new environments. Hello, Awaz. My cat says hello. Movement and seeing what we can learn from allowing ourselves to be free, fun, playful, you know, to use this fish metaphor, like swimming in new areas and seeing how that environment fits. If you're thinking of moving, I would say don't necessarily move this month, but definitely go try out new neighborhoods and new experiences in different parts of, you know, where you're thinking of moving before you really make that decision and like commit to something. I would say this is not like July is not a month of commitment. It's a month of experimentation, play, new experiences, joy, levity, lightness. It's not going to be a serious month, I would say. To the contrary, we'll see what comes up with the tarot. If the cards are serious, that could be why we're getting all of these light cards to remind us to be a little bit light, a little bit fun, a little bit playful, no matter what else is kind of going on. But either way, I would say the common thread here is movement, adaptability, and not really committing prematurely to being in one spot or with one person or with one, you know, life avenue. I think a lot of us are in a period where we are trying out new ways of living, new lifestyles, new vocations. We're figuring out who we are. I think a lot of us, it's the year of the snake, it's a year of transformation, right? And so I think a lot of us are going to be at pivotal points. And I don't think that it's time to fully like hunker down and commit just yet. That's not the energy that I'm getting anyway. All right, so now we're moving on to the tarot. So let's see what we got here. And I am shuffling the Rider-Waite-Smith. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a very classic tarot deck. My favorite. It is what I read with more often than not these days. So let's see what comes up. So what are our themes for July? What do we need to know for July? What are our themes? Let's start with that first. And then if need be, we'll add on a few more follow-up questions. All right. Perhaps, here we go. All right, 4 cards. Let me just take a sip of my drink. This is like kombucha. I was out for a walk before coming to do this, and it is so hot outside, so I needed something nice and cool to drink. Okay, so we have got 4 cards here. Let me just kind of give you guys the vibes before I tell you what I pulled. So 2 cards here are upright, 2 cards are reversed, 2 cards have blue skies, 2 cards have gray skies. And we have no major arcana yet. And so what can we learn from this? Okay, so I think this month it's going to be a mix of kind of like neutral energy and positive energy. I don't think it's going to be a particularly bad month. I don't think any crazy shit is really going to happen to most of you guys, which is great. So we love to see that. And in terms of the half reversed and half upright, it's interesting because it shows that it's not necessarily going to be a month where everything like flows super easily. There's going to be some kind of roadblocks. And I think that is actually part of why we got those nice watery oracle cards, because if we do experience some roadblocks, we're going to be benefiting from working with the energy of these lovely watery creatures, working with this energy to help us maneuver through any potential roadblocks and not be so hung up if there's some dead ends that we encounter. I think that's what these reversals are likely about. So let's talk about the reversals first, and then I'll get to the upright cards. What I'm very happy about here is we don't see any swords cards. Swords cards usually are a bit dramatic and unpleasant. So right now we've got 2 cups cards, a pentacle, and a wand. So it's honestly a nice balance. I love to see a spread like this. And again, no majors. So I don't see any super crazy, like explosive shit happening to most of us for this month, which is probably a good thing because we've had a lot of transition, a lot of change this year so far. So having July as a bit of a breather month, a bit of a playful, experimental kind of month can be something that feels actually quite welcome. So let's talk about these that are showing up reversed. So first up, 4 of Cups reversed. And so one thing we're going to really want to make sure that we are keying into and cluing into this month is making sure that we are not saying yes to things that we don't actually want to say yes to. So this card, especially when it's reversed, is very much about learning when to say no. You know, more is not always better. Sometimes less is more. Does this guy really seem that interested in this cup? No, he's like, ugh, kind of bored by it, right? He does not look stoked. His body language is blocked off, right? He is not super jazzed about this cup. And so 4, you'll notice, is a number of stability, and the other reversed, actually all of these cards are even numbers, which I really love to see. So another theme here for this month is going to be finding our balance, finding our equilibrium, right? We've got a 6, a 2, and a 4. Love to see that. Really, really nice. So with this card, it's how can we actually increase our emotional stability by learning to say no more often. And you notice that this gentleman is wearing red, just like me. But the red often in the tarot is going to represent personal authority, personal power. So saying no is a way of reclaiming and reconnecting with our sense of personal efficacy, personal agency in our life. Usually when we say yes, when we don't want to say yes, oftentimes we're doing that to avoid hurting someone's feelings or making someone mad. But at the end of the day, like that is really just a manipulative situation on both counts. And so when we say no and we're being authentic, we're actually doing ourselves a favor and we're doing everyone in our lives a favor, right? And so stability through saying no. It can really improve the quality of our life when we sort out what's really important to us, what we really want out of life, the type of people we like hanging out with, the type of experiences we like having, the type of jobs we want, how we like being treated, all of that stuff. And so when we say no to things that we don't actually want, even if we feel obligated to say yes, we actually are creating more space and spaciousness in general in our life to make room for what we do want, what is authentic to us, and what does actually serve us at the end of the day. Really, really important card, even though it looks like kind of boring. It's not a super interesting looking card, but it's super, super important. I would also consider it to be the boundaries card. So if you've had trouble with boundaries, I would say July should be a month of practicing your boundaries. Don't neglect this work. It's really important. I know it's easier said than done, but the more you do it, the easier it's going to be to keep going with keeping your boundaries, right? It's a practice thing. So our next reverse card is the Six of Pentacles. Very interesting. So it may be very tempting to ask people, let's say, for sweet dollar bills, money this month, rather than taking responsibility for ourselves. It's a tough card, some tough love here with this one. I'll show you guys this right side up. And so this month it's going to be a really good idea, I would say, to look into your relationships with money and other people. Are you the one who is being overly generous? And also, are you the one who is making people grovel in order for you to be generous to them? Right? This card can go a few different ways, but either way, there's a wonky kind of strange relationship to both giving and receiving, whether that's money or something else. Like pentacles does tend to be coins, right? The other name for pentacles is coins. But this can also just be anything kind of physical, anything material. So it's definitely going to be important this month to look at what is our relationship with that giving and receiving. Does our generosity come from a true place, or is it something that we're doing to be manipulative or to feel good about ourselves or whatever? And to the contrary, are we manipulating people in order to just like get things from them? Or is this kind of a actually mutualistic type of thing? So just a gentle call out. I don't see that card as kind of like the end of the world, but it's just kind of something to kind of reflect on and think about as we move into this month. So next up, we've got the Two of Wands, which I really love. Two of Wands reminds us that we've got the world in our hands. We have more options than we think we do about where we are going to go next in life. You'll notice that he's holding the world. We love that. And one wand is bolted to the wall and the other is free, right? And so we're probably feeling a little bit between two worlds right now. That could be between jobs, between relationships, moving from one season of self into our next season of self, right? And so that in-between space is a space of creation. It's a liminal space. And twos are often about partnership, right? So who do you want to partner with in this new season of self? What kinds of people do you want to partner with? Who are you? You know, who do you want to be? Who are you becoming? And also, who are you leaving behind, right? Because this gentleman is facing away from his current life, his current castle, his current environment, right? And looking elsewhere, looking outside of his current experience. And so this card is a reminder to grapple with that. And since it's a Wands card, it's all about what lights us up. What gets us excited? What gets us motivated? A lot of the time we lose our spark as we get older. And so it's a good idea with this card this month to really sink into what feels alive to us. What connects you with this feeling of vitality and aliveness? And how can you move your life so it's more in alignment with that spark that kind of lights you up, right? All right. Next up, we've got the Queen of Cups for this month. And so I love this card. It's really, really nice. So we got more cups and a queen energy. So we love this. So the cups are kind of feminine energy suit. Queen, of course, is also a very feminine energy type of card. So we got the double feminine energy going on. And so the Queen of Cups is inviting us to step into a season of self where we are emotionally mature, emotionally stable, And I think a lot of folks don't necessarily do this work. It's very, very important internal psychological healing work that I think we all need to do. But a lot of folks neglect this. A lot of people think that they're always right, blah, blah, blah. And so this month, really do that internal audit and be like, okay, am I actually the Queen of Cups? And if I'm not the Queen of Cups, what can I do to become the Queen of Cups? Right. And so if you notice yourself being pulled into drama, if you notice yourself always like pissed off at your friends or them always pissed off at you, or you're gossiping about whatever random bullshit, you're probably not the Queen of Cups. You're probably the reverse Queen of Cups. And so wherever you're at on your journey this month for July 2025, really see if you can step into the best, most emotionally stable version of yourself. If you hear people gossiping, just like leave the room, opt out, be like, you know what, I really don't want to participate in this conversation. If you notice people engaging in drama, just opt out. You don't have to participate in that type of stuff. The Queen of Cups does not participate in that kind of stuff, right? And the Queen of Cups also has no problem saying no to things that don't feel aligned. The Queen of Cups uses her emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, her emotional groundedness to figure out where she wants to go next. And the Queen of Cups is also emotionally intelligent enough to really assess, okay, what is my relationship with giving and receiving resources? Am I doing that in a mature, grounded way, or am I being a bit manipulative? Something to think about. So I really love all of those cards for July, to be honest. Those are quite nice. And I have no idea in the chat what that little like purple thing is. Strange. I'm still kind of new to YouTube, you guys. I don't understand like what all that stuff means. All the little symbols and stuff. But okay, let's see. I want to pull a few more cards, but not that many, because I think sometimes less is more. And moving with that Four of Cups energy, less being more. Let's see. So what are three things that we need to focus on this month? I'm going to just do that. 3 things to focus on. Interesting. Okay. So finally, we've got a major arcana for the month and also 2 reversed minors. So let's talk about our swords card. 4 of swords reversed. Interesting, because we also got that 4 of cups reversed. Interesting. So we have the saying no, the boundaries that we might be afraid to embody, afraid to actually enact and enforce. And swords is a masculine energy suit, so that's interesting. But you'll notice that these are both very chill cards. So it's stability and increased stability through boundaries, through saying no. And this 4 of swords reversed, it's the let's avoid burnout card, right? And rather than just protecting our emotional state like we are with that 4 of cups, the 4 of swords is our mental state, right? So now we've got emotional stability with that 4 of cups, and now we've got the mental stability part. And so this is keep your sword for yourself. We don't need to overdo it. We don't need to engage in every debate on the internet. We don't need to participate in the family drama. We can just say no. We don't need to, let's say, doom scroll on the internet forever in order to kill time. That is not actually relaxing. And so this card is also about, okay, what do you find actually relaxing, actually restorative? Is doom scrolling on Instagram restorative and relaxing? Probably not. Is spending all your time watching the news relaxing? Probably not. If you're on Reddit, on like snark subreddits, is that actually soothing and relaxing? No, that is like a deeply unhealthy behavior. And so this card is like, how can we be more mentally stable? What do we need to cut off? What do we need to insulate ourselves from? What do we need to say no to? So that we can achieve a state of actual mental rest and replenishment. And for some of us, that's going to involve like social media break, logging off, airplane mode, something to think about for this month. We've also got the reversed Page of Wands. And so this is interesting because kind of in conversation with this 2 of Wands, right? Interesting. And so with the Page of Wands reverse, it's like, don't stifle that urge to follow what the spark is. Allow the spark to lead you into whatever that next season is. And since our little animal spirit friends at the beginning of this reading are reminding us to be resilient and playful and fun and moving and exploring and experimenting, we can only do that if we turn this Page of Wands right side up. We can only do that if we follow that spark, if we follow that fire energy, whatever that happens to be, that lights us up and gets us excited. It's going to be something very different for everybody. So don't block that. Allow that to kind of come over you and allow yourself to be led by that inspiration, right? Inspiration is precious. And so the more we follow it, the more inspired we are, the more lively and just vibrant our life and our spirit and our soul tends to be, right? Really important. And finally, we've got the Hanged Man, our only major arcana today. And it's a very chill major arcana. The Hanged Man is a lot about surrender. And you'll notice it's an even number yet again. We've got only even numbers today, so I kind of love that. Again, balance. The whole theme of this reading is balance and movement and experimenting and finding stability through movement, boundaries, and following our spark, which is kind of fun. So the Hanged Man, again, surrender, not trying to overly control things. And in regards to this reading in general, I would say this card is very much about kind of going with the flow, not being so obsessed with things needing to be a particular way, not needing to control the outcome in this like OCD intense, like, you know, predetermined controlling way. It's actually about the empowerment that we can feel when we do go with the flow. And yeah, we have boundaries. Going with the flow does not mean that we have no boundaries. Okay. I think a lot of people forget that. Going with the flow, respecting our boundaries, allowing the kind of universe and the spark of our inspiration to lead us into this next season of where we're going. I love this for July. Hanged Man is also about seeing things with a different perspective. You'll notice he is literally upside down when the card is upright. And so allow yourself to be inspired by new perspectives this month. Go to a new random thing. Like, I don't know, go make pottery at some class. Go to a dance class. Go check out some jazz, even if you don't really like jazz. Just get out of the house, do new stuff. Go with the flow. Follow the spark of inspiration. And again, say no when you feel called to say no. But explore, move, etc. So I actually really love these cards for this month, and I'm going to leave it there because that to me feels like a complete reading. Some very, very interesting, fun cards. For anyone who came in late, here's the cards for July. And here are the animal spirit cards for July. Very fun. So does anyone have any questions about our cards for July? Those are fun. I'm going to assume that is a no. Well, if you're here late, I'm sorry, but we're done. So feel free to rewatch from the start to get the entire reading for this month of July. Honestly, the vibes are really good. You're not going to want to miss rewatching this video if you've missed the kind of beginning. So the vibes are good for July. All right, you guys, take care. Have a wonderful month. Happy Canada Day, and also happy 4th of July to my Americans. And just happy July to like all my international people. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.